Over here.
Lynette's not joining us?
I've had her follow Gemma and see if we can make any inroads with her. They should be... Still, I don't think that Gemma's likely to open up to us. Today, we'll be looking into a guy named Lorenzo. When Caesar passed away, all the stolen goods discovered in his home were confiscated and returned to their rightful owner. Before long, Lorenzo was the next big magician in town, his fame surpassing even that of his master, and it made him... I had to pull a lot of strings, but I managed to get him to agree to a couple of drinks with me. Be warned...
You neglected to mention that you were bringing two
My apologies. These two are my assistants. When they heard that I was meeting with the former magic maestro himself...
Oh, forget the pleasantries. Just sit.
Get a load of this guy. Forget the pleasantry.
I only agreed to meet since we're both magicians. Do me a favor and cut to the chase. I have more...
Much obliged, sir. As it happens, the matter I want to... Yesterday morning, a warning letter from the Phantom Weasel appeared on the entrance to the Opera House. He claims to be planning... I have to get to the bottom of this to ensure that my show can go ahead as planned.
What is there to investigate? Caesar was the Weasel and he's been dead for 10 years. So what if some sick creep thought it'd be funny to write a warning letter?
Please, sir, no need to get so worked up. I do...
Possibility? It's a fact, Linny. Look, my patience is limited, so listen carefully. The Weasel is dead. Period. Everyone knows that, so do yourself a favor and quit this investigation.
Oh, sir, I'm honored, really. But my pride as a magician is what's at stake here, Lorenzo. Copycat or...
Your pride? Don't mince words with me, boy.
I want to find out the Phantom Weasel's true identity. I have to...
What would that accomplish? And what do the events of 10 years ago have to do with you, anyway? Look, you of all people should know...
Uh-oh. This...
Lorenzo? Is that... Oh, it is!
Another day, I'm busy.
Oh, come on! You can't be all business all the time.
If I wanted your life advice, I'd ask...
Sorry, my good sir. I don't believe I've...
Oh, hey! Edmond, this is your first time meeting him? Oh. And he wonders why he can't get a girlfriend, despite being...
Shut up and get out of my face. Another word out of you and you can forget about doing business with...
Sorry, I may have had a little...
I think it's high time I made a move as well. If you really want to investigate this, Linny, be my guest. But if nothing good comes of it, don't say I didn't warn you.
Well, that fell to pieces in a rather spectacular fashion.
Totally. And what was all that about compensating you? He's gotta be hiding something. And not like Jeff...
I think so too. We need to look into Lorenzo. That guy Edmondo seems to know a thing or two about him. You okay there?
Oh, it's you guys. Don't worry about me. I must have had one. I said way too much back there, didn't I?
So he was serious about threatening to cut.
Hey! Don't go prying into Lorenzo's personal affairs.
What kind of bad things?
Don't even ask. I'm sorry. And take it from me, trouble with Lorenzo is one thing you don't need in your life. You saw him. That's not a good sign. You're too young for this.
And there he goes.
Shh. I think we're being watched. Don't say anything and don't look back. Any altercation in the city. You followed us a long way. Why don't you come?
So you're Lenny. And where's... Save us the trouble and go fetch her for us.
Paimon doesn't like the tone of your voice, mister!
Save your questions, missy. You ain't gonna need answers where you...
Looks like we can't avoid this fight. Now, I'm not the strongest fighter, so I hope...
Don't worry, we got this!
Into the wind. Fallen leaves, adorn my night!
And...
Curses. They're tougher than we thought.
Vision wielders are always trouble.
Come on, let's scram!
Hurry, wise guys! We ain't through it! Oh, they got away! Did you cut? Sounds like they just wanted to rough us up as a scare tactic. And you're right. She was injured when we saw her. Maybe she was too scared to tell us that...
Well, if that's the case, she should be more... Let's head back to the cafe and see if we can get...
With the wind. Gemma?
You again. What is it this time?
We just ran into the men who've been threatening you. So, you can relax now.
What? Why?
Sounds like they're no...
That's putting it mildly. I know them. It's been 10 long years. And still every time I try to look into Caesar's death, they show up. How do I know I can trust you? Do you really?
I'm afraid I can't reveal all the details just yet, but I can promise you this. Because you see, this is a...
Okay.
I've heard that Caesar used to have a magic workshop where he kept a lot of his Do you know where it is?
The Fleuve Sonde. But the place was sealed up by the police. I also know that the Fleuve Sonde is dangerous territory. Lots of hostile...
Understood. Lynette, you stay here and take care of Gemma.
Got it. But if I'm staying here,
I mean, bon appetit. But stay sharp, too.
Okay. Alright. Power saving mode off.
If Gemma gave us the right location, then the workshop should be right nearby. Huh. Looks like these There we go. It should be just down here.
Caesar's workshop. Nothing suspicious here, just normal magic props. Let's head in further. What was that? Oh, is this one of Caesar's gadgets? Guess we must have triggered some sort of device.
Step right up.
Midnight Phantasmagoria!
One with nature.
Time to go! See? Whoa. Look. The doll in the box is glowing. There's something written on the card on this doll. Let's take a closer look. Looks like we've reached the end of this route. Shall we try a different one? These magic boxes are moving. What do we do?
One of them looks different from the rest. Let's investigate.
We're supposed to find the box that lit up at the start, right? There should be another wish list inside. Let's keep trying. That's weird. Have we reached the end already? There's nothing here. Maybe this was a wasted trip.
This place seems a little too ordinary for a magician's workshop. We've triggered quite a few devices on the way here. If so, then there must be more to this place than meets the eye. Maybe, aha! If I just...
A secret passageway!
I'm a magician too, and apparently Great Mind looks pretty big inside. Let's...
The wind knows me.
Orders given. Orders received.
As one with wind and cloud. Into the wind.
By royal decree! Higher, higher, pants on fire!
Clouds high. The birds call. One with nature.
Why have you stopped, Lenny? Is there...
It just looks familiar somehow. Let me check this out for a second while you go. If anyone makes a major discovery, let's rendezvous here.
Alright, see you in a bit. Wow! There's a hidden room here! This book's thick as a brick! Let's see.
At one of my shows a few days ago, a child asked me, as a joke, I told the kid that the hat has a built-in wish-granting machine. So I told them another white lie. The machine needs time to power up, but in the meantime, you can write your wishes down. I wound up saving very little this month, but that's not... Two children came to talk to me after today's show. I don't know why they were out on their own. They looked much too young to be unsupervised. Anyway, they said that they wanted me to teach them how to do magic. I told them that learning magic is very hard work, but that didn't faze them at all. It seems like something's bothering Lorenzo lately. Surely he's not upset that I agreed to teach those two. I have a good feeling about those kids. They have all sorts of fantastic ideas. All I'm really... They wanted to call me Master, but I told them they absolutely mustn't. Any magician worth their salt could have taught them what I had. With time, I have no doubt that they could become far greater magicians than I. My only concern is why there's so much. Gemma thinks so too. She doesn't like being around them. Says that their eyes are too piercing. It's nearly time for me to go on tour. I asked the two. I once overheard them talking about their father and their mission. Sounds like it's only been 10 days since I first met them. They're very tough, but also very cautious. And they hide things from me too. For example, when I asked them where they live, that's the thing about children. Whenever they're trying to cover, I can sense that their lives have been hard. Possibly even dangerous. After thinking things over, I decided to tell them a bit about how I see the P.S. I hope they won't find my nagging annoying. Children are so opinionated nowadays. Will it do them more harm than good for some P.P.S. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Children aren't interested in grand philosophies. Oh, Caesar, Caesar.
Two magic geniuses with a father and a mission, huh? Sounds a lot like he was writing about Linny and Lynette. So did they meet Caesar when they were kids?
Time to go.
Linny?
Shh, hold that thought. As I
Fishy? Uh-oh.
All in good time. Before we go over our new leads, first, the magician slots themselves into a magic box in full view of the audience. The box is then, at this point, a dummy will fall out of the box, but it looks real enough to... Meanwhile, the real magician, who has by now blended into the crowd, oh no! Is that me?
Very vivid description.
The audience's gaze then turns to the magician, and by the time they realize what's happened, the dummy has vanished. Of course, that's just how I think the process should work. The inventor of this trick never performed it successfully. When the box opened, he fell right to the ground from the highest point of the opera house. And no one else has ever attempted this trick since. My understanding of how it works...
So Caesar's famous high-altitude escape has never been done, huh? Paimon was about to say how cool it would have been to see it in person, but... Wait a second. So if a dummy's supposed to drop out of the box, then where does the...
Glad you asked. That brings us to the secret. This box right here is the one that Caesar constructed himself to use in the performance. And it's not as... Once the magician's inside, and the box is lifted up into the air, the audience... From where they're standing, they have a clear view of the front, sides, and bottom. At this point, the magician presses a button inside the box, opening a... He then escapes through this trapdoor onto the opera house roof, waits for the dummy to fall and distract...
That's way simpler than Paimon imagined. Even Paimon could...
Well, there's a little more to it than that, of course. The hardest... There's the falling dummy, the miraculous reappearance, the pompous performing. Maybe the magician would even have themselves tied up before it begins. Many days and nights of careful research and painstaking practice would have gone into this, all culminating in a performance just a few minutes. Caesar was a highly accomplished magician.
So, how did it go so wrong? You said you found some fishy...
I can make a pretty good guess. I looked into the case files. The magic box Caesar was using at the time of his death had the secret button I mentioned positioned on the right-hand side.
Okay, nothing suspicious.
But here's the strange thing. Most of the devices in this workshop have the mechanism on the left-hand side, including this box right here. Which, because a magician can't afford to have their most basic habits stand out too much. But a magician needs to be able to redirect an audience's attention. The essence of magic is getting people to believe a lie. If even the truth raises eyebrows, and so, Caesar trained himself to use his right hand to align with his audience's expectations. Great magic, but in his most stressful and nerve-wracking moments, and when no one was watching, reflex would kick in and he'd use his left. Exactly. I think that's likely what happened. Caesar would have been under a lot of time pressure during the escape. he'd have had mere seconds to open the hidden compartment, retrieve the dummy, then open the secret door and make... But I'm sure he was confident. He would have rehearsed countless times to the... So he opened the compartment, took out the dummy, checked everything was in order, and then went to leave. With his left hand, he reached for the... Much like when you reach for your keys but find your pocket. Instinctively, his left hand would keep feeling around for the missing button, maybe for another... With the stakes being as high as they were, just a 2-second delay cost him everything.
When in reality, someone switched the boxes, and they did it to... But how would they be able to make the switch without being noticed?
It would have to have been someone who knew that he was left-handed, and who could move his props around. Isn't that right?
You just couldn't let sleeping dogs... There's not a lot of people who'd go to all this trouble for some magician who died 10 years ago. But I gave you your chance. I hoped you'd do what's good
You mean Gemma? So you were...
Yes, although however stubborn she might be, she was never much of a liability. But you people... Which is why you can't leave this place alive.
Do your worst!
As one with wind and cloud!
Cross over!
Into the wind! Clouds high, the birds call!
Let's get this show on the road!
Wings of darkness! Come, sever...
Had enough yet, Lorenzo? Your cronies can't help you. I think it's high time you started talking, and...
If I had a mora for every time you've said that man's name. Of course you are. He was just an amateur who did cheap tricks for gullible children. I was the one who made magic and...
So it was jealousy.
Jealousy. Hatred, more like. He poured everything into his street performances and his stupid tours like it was just a hobby to him. Never bothering to think about... But the people loved him, didn't they? Oh, how they looked up to him. No one came... Amazing. Yeah, so amazing that he was completely broke. Every other apprentice was living it up at their master's expense, but no, not me. I put in all the work, mastered all... He forbade me from using magic to trick people out of their mora. And with his reputation in Fontaine, it was too risky for me to go it alone. As long as he was alive, if I had to kill him, there was no...
And this was your only motive?
It was reason enough. What other...
Well, I was under the impression that there might have been other factors at play.
In love with Gemma, don't be ridiculous.
Guess I was wrong about that then.
I am. Caesar was so strict with me. I never bought into any of that. I was more interested in the practical value of magic. Sure enough, it helped.
Oh, yeah! Charlotte told us that the weasel would steal whatever people valued, no matter how...
That's just how it looked from the outside. What would any thief want with I stole cheap things as a way of practicing my craft. It was...
So, that's the story, huh? Well,
What choice do I have? You're a pack of wolves, and you've got me between your jaws. So be it. I've enjoyed power and wealth for the last 10 years. The likes of which Caesar...
Very well. In that case, Traveler, Paimon, keep an eye on Lorenzo for me.
Lini has told me the whole... Lorenzo, do you confess to the murder of Caesar and to...
Look who's finally developed a What kind of disciple murders their own master? I hope it was worth it.
Looks like it's all over. What should we do next, Lenny?
Let me think. Let's rendezvous with Lynette and Gemma first. With Lorenzo and Cup.
Good point! We should go tell Gemma the good news right away!
Ah, you're back. You were so quick. I've only just finished my third...
Your third? Lynette, come on, we've talked about this. Everything in moderation.
It's fine. I'll shift to exercise mode and jog off the excess.
That's besides the point.
Did everything go okay?
Of course! Lorenzo was no match for us. The guards are taking him...
Gosh, that's amazing. I had my suspicions about Lorenzo, but...
It's okay, we understand. But you don't need to be...
Sorry. I always wanted to report Lorenzo. He took all of Caesar's property, which I found suspicious. I was so afraid. I was scared he'd do something terrible to me. Thank you all.
Thank you all for clearing Caesar's name. I never would have guessed that Lorenzo was the real Phantom Weasel. He never showed any signs that there were problems between him and Caesar. To think that lowlife's been living life to the fullest all this time. At least his soul can finally rest in peace now.
If only I'd realized...
Don't blame yourself, Gemma.
Yeah, you still have the rest of your life to...
Cheer up, Gemma. My brother's doing a magic show at the Opera House tomorrow evening. Would you like... This show will be a special one.
In Caesar's honor. Thank you.
Great. We'll see you tomorrow evening. Traveler, Paimon.
Don't worry, we'll be there. No way are we gonna miss out on a free magic... Wait, Paimon feels like we're forgetting.